Welcome back then, this is episode 6 of the BMW. Today it's all about this. Ugh. So here it is then, the day I've not been waiting for in the slightest. Last time I moved it, I spilled a lot of petrol everywhere and it's pretty much sat on the floor on a box. And that's all I've been doing really, is there are 6 bolts here that hold the sort of fuel tank assembly into it, the fuel pump assembly rather, and I've just been spraying the bolts with a penetrant so that when it comes to this day, I'm kind of hoping that they won't snap off, so please fingers crossed for me with that. I've got new seals for everything, that one there and the top of the tank. I've got a new fuel filter and I've got these nifty little pair of click and click R-type pliers, so hopefully this will help me out. But I'm wondering if somebody's been in before, will they have replaced these clicker type things with normal screw type clips? I hope they haven't really, because I hate screw type clips, especially when they're old. Anyway, other than that, I've had a bit of a look over the tank, and outside is not too bad in all fairness, but inside there are the standard wear and tear showings, and that is a little bit of sort of roughage on the edges there where it's just been taken off, put back on over time and scratched and whatever. The weather's got in there and it's rusting off. Obviously that seam there will have to be sanded down and cleaned up. A lot of this will, to be fair. The left hand side is not too bad, but where these are here you can still see a little bit of rust inside there. So again, not in like the worst condition. Actually the seam there is rusty as well, but I'm going to just give it a bit of a clean up after I've been fettling with everything, and then just put a rust inhibitor on there and hope for the best with that until I can actually pay someone to properly spray this tank for me. But until that happens, it's just a case of strip it down, get it to where I want it to be, knowing that everything inside there is good to go, back together and then back on the bike. So wish me luck. First things first then, fuel out. Plan is to take as much of this fuel out of it as I can, and then I'm going to have to leave it vent for a bit. Thankfully that went without a disaster. It may take some time, but obviously I'll do the old editing things. You can see it when it's empty. So I've just emptied loads of it out, but it still sounds like there's quite a lot in there and I can't get any more sort of swishing about to get it released into the tank through the filter. So I'm going to start cracking these bolts. So you can see now then, with all bolts off, we're going to get into the action. Get it to a point where we can release the pipes from the inside. So I'll show you that now. And this is what we got then. This is what my new little pliers is handy for. So this is future me then. I just want to take 2 seconds to show you these clicker or click R type pliers and the clamp. You can see there, it's pretty much an unusual shape, and that's all you have to do really to release them is put the flush end at the back and it unclamps it. And if you want to clamp it back together, you use the part with the groove, squeeze on the back, and you can see it just overlaps, putting pressure on the pipe. I've linked these down below if you want to use them, but I just wanted to show you if you decide you're going to pull your fuel tank off your BMW GS and you're met with a set of these clamps. So what we're going to do now is unclamp them both. And then get these damn pipes off. Now I would mark them normally, but I can see this white line on this right hand side pipe, so that's going to come off there, hopefully. one. that's the other. Now that I pulled it out, then you've got the fuel pump on the left and the fuel filter on the right, and it's just a case of using some little screws on these Jubilee clips to pull them apart. You can see these hoses are really small, so hopefully they're okay to go. So we've got the whole fuel pump assembly type thing all together now then. There's your fuel pump on the left, there's your fuel filter on the right, there's your little fuel gauge. This is a little rubber O-ring which actually looks alright, but to be fair, I've got a new one, so I'm gonna use a new one. But obviously I'm not gonna sort of do any cleaning up or replacing of the O-rings until I'm gonna put it back in the tank. So in the meantime, I'm just gonna change this fuel filter. This little thing can have fuel in it still, so get it over something where it's going to spill into. I honestly thought I was going to make more mess than this. Time for the new fuel filter then. And the direction arrow faces down towards the curly pipe from the straight one. And that is that good to go. And that's the fuel filter replaced. Nice and easy job. Nice and secure. All good to go there. I just need to put it somewhere safe now so I can move on to the rest of the fuel tank. I need to get the rest of that petrol out there before I take the top off. So I'm happy now that I just managed to get pretty much the majority of the petrol out of there without covering myself and the floor with it. I mean, check that out. Look at that, it all went into that sieve. There's barely a drop on the floor. That was a win. So now I'm going to take the top off and see what's going on inside there. So we've got a bit of a T25 Torx action on here then. Right, if I can go. So naturally, looking at this now, I can see slight bubbles all over the coating. So it's not as good as I first thought when I sort of had my glance over it, but Jesus shit man, look at that. It looks like it's coated in something, but I don't know where you coat something in to make it that colour other than shit. Now, as I've already alluded to, I wasn't really looking forward to this part of the project because it was rust, you know what I mean? You don't want rust on anything. You can deal with a little bit of erosion, but that was orange and I didn't know what the hell to do with it. So the plan for this part of the video now is to call it an end. We've done the strip down of the tank. I think the next part is to look at what I can do with the top part of the assembly, because the fuel pump and all that housing is in good condition. I'm really happy with that. I just need to do a little bit of a clean up and then put a new O-ring rather back on it and then fit it to the tank. Not before fitting this part, obviously, because the pipes will go from this down to that. So it's a bit of a slow burner, this one, I think. And in the meantime, I'm not going to stall the project. I'm just going to move on to something else because the power lever's got a whole lot of things to be done to that. Checked, replaced, the wheels also, and the brakes. So I've got plenty to crack on with, plenty of videos to still come with it. But this, if I don't bring you a video on this next week, I'll probably do something to do with a different part of the bike. So we'll call this end of part 1. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll bring you another video next week.